This is part 2 of Access Module 2 SAM Project 1A, starting with step 4. We're going to open the comparison birth query in Design View. So looks like I've already got that open. You just needed to have right-clicked on it just to kind of show you. Yeah, save it. I'm okay with it. And then I'm just going to open it in Design View. Now they want us to add the first name field, so it will eventually appear between customer ID and last name. So first of all, I'm just going to double click on first name. It's going to add it after date of birth. But then I'm going to come over here and click on that little gray bar at the top, which lets me select the column. And then I'm going to click and drag it. You see the insertion bar? I'm just going to keep punching past, and then I'm going to pull it back so it's between customer ID and last name. So our insertion bar, when I let go of it, will put the first name field before last name or just after customer ID. Now it says to add criteria to select only those records where the date of birth field is less than 1/1/1950. So I'm just going to scroll to the right some. I'm going to click in the criteria box, and I'm going to do the less than symbol, and I'm going to type the date just the way they have it, 1/1/1950. And then if I just kind of click below that just so you can see something there, you'll notice we didn't type the little hashtags or pound signs or number signs, but by default Access uses those to denote a date type of numeric field, if you will. So that's how it designates that. Other database management systems will use similar types of notation. Now it says set the format to medium date for the date of birth field, and then set the caption to birth date. Okay. Now normally if we had this in full screen, or full screen, we could see the property sheet, but as it is, we have to click on this show hide button, and then there's property sheet. So you're going to click on property sheet, and you can see that we're going to click in the format box, pull down the list and choose medium date, and then the caption we're going to type in is birth date, and it is camel cased. Now you can close out the property sheet, and everybody goes, well, wait a minute, we haven't saved it. It'll tell us to save it if we need to. So we have set the caption. I am going to save it, and then I'm going to run it. And it's supposed to look like what you see in the sample in figure 1. However, I'm seeing a 4-digit year, and they only have a 3-digit year. So let me go back to Design View and let me just check this out real quick. I'm pretty sure I chose what I was supposed to choose, which was medium date, and there's medium date, and that's the one that's selected, but I'm still getting it as a, let's try this again. We'll save it and then close out the property sheet, and we'll run it. I'm still getting a 4-digit year. I'm going to hope that that's okay. I'll find out a little bit later. But you should be able to look like what you see here all the way through December 1948. The next thing to do is to open up the state city sort query. Boy, that's a mouthful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this because I'd already saved it, and I'm going to look for, and these are in alphabetical listing, so here's the state city sort. Right click on it, choose Design View, move the state field to the beginning of the design grid so the order of the fields in the grid is state, city, first name, last name. Okay, so I'm just going to click on that gray bar and then drag it until I'm in front of city. So now state comes before city and so forth. Now, when you're doing sorts and you're doing multiple sorts, the first level sort or primary sort has to be your leftmost field in your column of fields that you've selected. So if you wanted to sort, say, by last name and then first name, then they would have to be in that order from left to right, so that it would sort by last name first and then by first name within the same last name. So if I had Jeff and Joe Smith, they would sort first by Smith, and then they would sort Jeff first and then Joe. Jeffjoe. So you get the gist of that. Now we're going to sort the records in descending order by state field. So I'm going to click in the sort button here and choose descending. That's Z to A, or 10 to 1, or however you want to look at that. In this case it's Z to A. And then in ascending order by city. So in the sort box for that one, we're going to choose ascending. Save the changes to the query, which we will, and then view it in Datasheet View, which we can just run it, and we'll take a look at it. We have 2 Virginias, in descending order, right? So the VA comes before the S and for all the PAs. And then ascending order by city, so Hopewell comes before Manassas. And if you take a look at Pennsylvania, these are all Pennsylvania that come before Ohio, but in the city names they are in alphabetical order A to Z. Allentine, Chester, Kunkletown, okay, Lansdale, Lebanon, Media, and so forth. So this particular query did exactly what we asked of it. So we're just going to close it, and if it had prompted us to save, we would have saved it. Now, the next one to look at, and then this will be the last one we do before we save this section of video. We're going to open the liability and property. Remember we used the or property before? Well, this time we're using liability and property. We're going to open that in Design View. Now I'm just going to make this big enough to see everything and get it to go there. Okay. In Design View, add criteria to select only those records where the liability field equals 100,000. So down here, equal 100,000. And then I'm going to scoot over because it also says and the personal property field values equal 100,000. So an and goes on the same criteria row. So it'll be another equal 100,000. Now for a record to be chosen this time, it has to meet both conditions, both criteria. So we are going to save that, and then we're going to run it. Now there should only be 2 records where both the liability and personal property is exactly 100,000. So that did exactly what we wanted it to do. So we will close it, and at this point we'll stop and prepare this second part for publication.